Welcome, engineers. My name is TravisIQ, and this is how to get a job in cybersecurity in 2025, starting from nothing. Let's go. Well, we're not in the void. Normally I'm in the void doing some instruction, but I'm not this time. So my thoughts around this are very clear. You need leverage to get a job in cybersecurity. You need something to get into that space. We're talking about starting from zero. There are really three ways you can gain this leverage. Education. You can get a bachelor's degree, an associate's degree, a master's or a PhD like me. You can use that to provide yourself leverage. All right, Travis, I don't want to get a 4-year degree. It's going to take forever, and I don't think that they're that valuable in the space right now. Okay, great. Certifications. And you're like, Travis, certifications, that sounds like education. That is not the same, right? A BS, an associate's, a PhD, an MS in these fields is not the same as a certification from either a certifying body or a Cisco or a Juniper or a Palo Alto. These certifications show that you have a specific set of skills. These are giving you leverage. You are saying, hey, I have a skill set. I received an education in this. Hey, I have a skill set. Cisco says that I have an ability in this space. And then the third one is experience. And you're like, Travis, you said you were starting from zero. Well, there are ways to get experience as well, but you have to utilize the tools at your disposal. You are not going to go from zero to being a cybersecurity engineer at Rapid7 with no experience, no time in the space, and no education. So you need to find one of these things to gain access or leverage in the space. And then the last one that gives you leverage, and people know this, is connections. It's who you know. How do you build connections in this space? And you know what that connection component really is? That's trust in the space, right? When I'm a hiring manager, I work with these firms. I do this actually as an educator. I help people upskill in this space, and I work with the firms as well. When I'm trying to tell them or I'm trying to determine whether I should trust this person, I look at these criteria and I say, do they have this education? Do they have a set of experience? What can I garner from this information that I've been given about this person to determine whether I think that they are valuable? How are you going to convey that leverage to me that says you are going to be valued to me now and in perpetuity? The connections is a really interesting one because it's a soft skill. You don't have to take time. You don't have to go out and pass a certification exam. I would argue if you have the ability or want to do this, use the connection component. Go out to cybersecurity meetups. Go to ISC Squared in your field. Go out to a local hacking meetup. Attend these events. Meet and talk to people. Do things in your community. Attend local conferences related to cybersecurity, hacking, network infrastructure, whatever it is that you're interested in, software development. There are a number of ways to develop connections in the space, and that really doesn't matter about your leverage or your education or your certifications at all. You have seen this, I'm sure, someone talking about it on a YouTube video or someone in the space, you're like, how'd you get in? They're like, I just knew somebody, right? Find somebody, meet somebody, know somebody. If you don't want to do that, you're a nerd and you're like, this is really tough for me. I don't really understand how to make those connections. I just go there and I don't meet anybody and it's hard to talk to people. Then you need to generate leverage in another way. You need to get an education. You need to find certifications. You need to, maybe you don't necessarily build connections, but I'll give you another one, another way to meet and build a skill set. Go to a small business that is an IT service provider. Go to a tiny managed service provider with 4 people. I talked to a managed service provider locally. This was inside the last 6 months. I said, how do you find people? How do you hire people? They said, well, sometimes people just come across our door. Sometimes we hire them straight out of certification programs. So they're saying, we are looking for people with a small degree of skills or a small amount of experience in the field, someone that we can trust and upskill. And I said, so then what happens? They said, do they work for us for 4 or 5 years, 2 or 4 years? It depends on the time frame. And then they move on to a larger MSP. They move on to an ISP. They move on to a big cybersecurity provider or a managed SaaS solution. They move on from there. These are ways that you can gain leverage, get access to people, get access to companies, and differentiate yourself. Think about differentiating yourself as an individual. That's the most important component. And whatever of those suggestions appeal to you, or if you think about something else, use that and double down on that and continue to differentiate yourself. The final thing that I'm going to point out here is tell a story. Use the differentiators that you have built, whatever it is, a connection in the space, a certification, whatever that is, to tell a story. And I'm going to end with an anecdote from my own life. When I was in my bachelor's degree in a chemical engineering program, I did not have the best GPA. I had one of the lowest GPAs in my class. I got both internships and job offers straight out of this this program because I knew how to tell a story. I'll tell you the story that I told. I love technology. I love engineering. My grades in my core competency in chemical engineering were very high. My grades in the other areas of the university were not very good. English, biology, whatever it is. And so I went in with a plan. I knew that I was at the bottom of the totem pole, but I knew I could tell a good story. And so when someone asked me, hey, you're kind of not the best GPA student, I said, yeah, but I love engineering. I want to be here, and I'm in front of you right now. And they're like, man, that is really interesting. I got feedback from my classmates who had a better GPA, who had more extracurriculars, who had better references from instructors and from people at the university. And I was offered positions over those individuals because I was telling a story. You may not be like me, but find the narrative that works for you and something that you can confidently convey to differentiate yourself from those that are trying to break into this field just like you. That's my 5-minute discussion. I hope it helped you. Leave some suggestions in the comments and I will go over specific components of these and how to build them out and how to build a narrative for you. Let's go! Engineer, break stuff, have fun.